Hey everybody, I'd like to go over my 1982 BMW R100Rs for you today. I'll just show you some of the features and some of the accessories that came with it. First off, the luggage. Pretty handy to have. It just opens up real easy. I don't know how many liters you'd consider this, but my guess would be somewhere around 20-25, and there's two of them. Might even be a little smaller than that, but it's really simple to operate. These are in pretty good shape, and they just latch on. I don't know if you can see this, but they latch on right here. Very easy to remove and put back on. And you can see they're relatively snug to the bike. I've used them before and they worked well. They worked very well. You know, for an overnight trip or something like that. It's a shot from the rear of the bike. I'm going to take this luggage off, and I just want to show you real quick my new shocks that I just recently installed. And I'm yet to test them, but I did want to go over and just show you them. They look pretty cool. These here, these are the originals. So what they look like. This is actually an adjustment right here for it. You know, it would look something like that. But the new shocks, I think, like I said, I think they look pretty cool. They do have they claim to have a progressive spring. This lower section is progressive, not the upper, but where it's wound tight. And they were relatively inexpensive, $159. So I hope they work pretty well. These old ones, these are roughly 37 years old, give or take, and they've just done their job. I was bouncing all over the place. It wasn't working out very well, so I knew it was time. Another thing that came with the bike that's pretty cool was this original modular helmet. Let's see if I can open this up for you. There we go. Original BMW modular helmet. BMW System Helmet DOT. Well, they must have had pretty low standards back in the day, because this thing, it reminds me of an old leather football helmet. That's how chintzy it is. But I guess for 1982 it was pretty cool. Looks like an Apollo, you're going on an Apollo 11 mission or something like that. But I'm just really think it's really cool that it came with the bike. So, I ought to mention too, this backrest. This did not come with the bike. I got this on eBay, but it is original BMW equipment, and it's good for carrying my passenger. Much more comfortable. So, I got to take off the other side here so I can show you what's under the seat. Some pretty good stuff. And there's the other side of the bike. Beautiful bike. So, and then again, there's the rear of the bike. Classic look to it. Got that thinner tire than most bikes today, so it's pretty distinct. That and the two cylinders coming out the side, you know what's coming down the road. So you just push this button here, and it just lifts right up. Piece of cake. And under here, you really have to hand it to the German engineering. If you look close, and I'll take it off for you so you can see it better, this is a tire pump that it fits, obviously it fixes right to the bike. Whoop. And who's doing that these days? Let me put the cap back on. There we go. So one really cool thing that comes with the bike right there. This is the toolbox, the toolkit container, I guess you'd call it. Again, all original. Fits right in neatly, as you can see. Doesn't jiggle, or I've never heard it jiggling around or anything like that. And what comes inside? Let's see. One toolkit. You open it up here with most everything you're going to need for roadside repairs. And I've noticed these are various open-end wrenches. Let's see, 22 mil, 19 mil, 17, 13, 14, 12, and right on down to about, I'm guessing this is about a 6 mil here. There's an 8 and a 7. So it goes down to 7 mil. It's got the tire irons for roadside repairs. Pretty cool. And I've noticed just when I'm tinkering with the bike that it was really well thought out, because the tools that are in the kit and the tool set, I can do almost anything on this bike, as I guess you would expect. But you know, I don't have to go in the other room and start looking through my snap-on tool chest. So that's pretty cool. Here's your original rider's manual for the US models. And we even have a tire patch kit. It says Rima Tip Top TT10. Inside looks like you got a little bit of epoxy or glue, a couple of patches. Pretty neat. And again, this thing's like 37 years old. What didn't they think of? And we even have an original, let's try this, an original Bmw towel. Probably for checking your oil or wiping your hands. Another thing I'd like to show you, that's just, you know, never ceases to amaze me, the Germans engineers, how they design this bike. This here is just a lock. You see, there's the keyhole right there. You just click it in around your bike to a post or a tree or whatever you may have handy to nobody, you know, thinks of taking a joyride on your prized BMW. And that just slips in. That just slips in right into under the tank neatly. You'd never know it was there if I didn't show it to you. See that? Again, pretty cool stuff. The tire pump goes right onto these little nubs. I don't know if you can see them right here and right here. I guess they didn't want you breaking down on the side of the Autobahn without having some kind of getting out of there in reasonable time. So if you're a pretty handy guy and, you know, you broke down, you'd have a pretty fair shot at getting out of there. Just from what they've given you. You know, the tools, the patch, the tire irons. Little hook here, it's kind of hard to see. That is where you'd loop your helmet. Your D-ring right around that. Close the seat, and then you'd have a secure helmet. I have an aftermarket kickstand. The originals made you feel like the bike was going to tip over every time, and there was a lot of complaints. I don't recall the name of the company that makes those, but you can find them online easy enough. You have a steering lock here. If you feel the need, that just moves to the side. Put your key in, lock your steering. The horn on this, I'll mention, there's the horn right here. I might as well do it for you too. It's very loud. It's like louder than a car. It's very, very loud, so it's going to get your attention and get somebody to notice. This here is like, I should mention this. This is like a steering stabilizer. I don't know if you can see, but it's 1, 2, 3 settings. 2, 1. Oh, that's 0, so it's 0, 1, 2. I've always left it on 1. I've never, I don't know if the system's worn out or what, but I've never really noticed that, you know, big of a deal and big of a change when I've switched it around. It's got a voltmeter on here that goes slightly over 12 when I'm riding. It's got a clock. It's never failed me. Works fine. Everything else works really good on it. All the instruments, 21,797 miles. Pretty low. I do plan on this being my secondary bike. I generally just take it out on the weekends for short rides around. I'm trying to preserve it a little bit, but you know, an occasional jaunt up the coast to New Hampshire is fine too. I think I'll go ahead and start it so you can hear it. Another thing I'd like to mention too is, I don't know why the modern motorcycles can't get it right, but this is the most comfortable stock seat I have ever tried. It's really enjoyable to sit on. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up for you. The bike is semi-warm right now. I didn't really warm it up too much, so it's idling a little bit high. I think they're supposed to be around 11 or 1200 idle, maybe even a little lower than that, I think. But she purrs like a kitten. And it's just a unique sounding bike. You know when you hear this coming down the road and you don't see it yet, it's something special. It's not your typical four-cylinder Japanese bike. It's got a little different sound to it. Not that there's anything wrong with the Japanese four-cylinder bikes. I love those also. So that's how it sounds. Sounds pretty good. Another thing I'd like to mention, let me get it on the kickstand real quick, is, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. Let me see if I can show you. Okay, here you go. Right here, this is actually a throttle lock. So you can twist it, see if I'm doing, yeah, and it just locks the throttle. I like it a lot. Even for small rides, you can let go for 5 seconds and give your arm a little bit of a break without having to, you know, slow down. It's completely safe too. I've never had any issues with it. But it's kind of a cool feature I thought I'd mention because I like bike, it. Mass-produced bike that was tested in a wind tunnel in Germany when they were developing it. So that whole full fairing was developed, like I said, in a wind tunnel. And I believe they borrowed the wind tunnel from Porsche or Volkswagen or one of those companies. Double disc brakes in the front. They work pretty well. Single disc in the back, obviously. So, I really enjoy my 1982 BMW. And at this point it really doesn't need anything, maybe a little cleaning at best. It runs good. It's a secondary bike for me. I've done about 3,000 miles on it since I've had it. I really enjoy it. So I'm going to say that's about it for now. I appreciate you watching. There'll be a test run shortly with the new shocks to see how they work out. Thanks again for watching.